Hi there, I'm Amy.
And I'm Sue.
And we're the mother-daughter duo behind Chatter Matters.
Each week, we're going to be chatting through everyday challenges and how we navigate them as two women from different generations.
So get yourself comfy, grab your cup of tea or coffee, and let us show you why Chatter Matters.
Welcome.
Welcome back to another episode.
It's lovely to have you back with us. We're now on episode 13.
13.
Is that unlucky for some?
Yeah, not for us though.
No.
Not for us.
No, we're not going to be
And then we're in
superstitious.
our fourth. It's our fourth different setting now.
We are.
Of where we filmed this.
Because we're in your flat.
We are in my flat.
We've just had a day of building more bookcases.
More bookcases. This is the fourth and fifth bookcase that's gone up in my flat, which is, we're not done yet. Well, actually, no, it's going to be floating shelves. I still have shelves to put up to fill out my book dreams.
But it's looking lovely, Ames.
Thanks, Mama. I'm really happy with how it's coming together. It's so nice to have, like, because it makes so much sense in my brain. And there are so many things in my head that I'm like, that would look really cool. And that makes so much sense together. And then it's days like today where you get to pull the different pieces that I've either got in boxes or rolled up and things like that. I mean, pulling out the rug today, which to be honest wasn't actually meant to go in here, but it just fits perfectly, was just, yeah, very, very cool.
Awesome. So we thought we might in this episode, because we started about 3 months ago, didn't we? We started.
Yeah.
And we thought, and the whole reason why we started, and if you haven't listened to episode 1, then please do. It's the one called The Journey Begins.
Yes, indeed.
The whole reason why we started this podcast was almost to track our transition.
Yeah.
Of you moving out, me being an empty nester.
Yeah.
And we thought at the 3-month point, we might do a bit of a performance review,
a quarterly check-in of where we're at.
and just for us to kind of how are things, how are you in that transition, and how am I in that transition. So we thought we might just do a bit of a check-in and get you guys updated with where we're at.
And I guess probably almost like, because I feel like you and I stay fairly close to how we're doing, how we're feeling, but I'm just interested to see what we end up talking about.
Awesome. So should we start with you? I mean, you know, how does it feel to be a homeowner?
I love it. I'm literally having such a good time. I think there are times where it gets a little bit much, but I think I've actually dealt with moving out in general so much better than I thought I would. I thought I would be getting overwhelmed a bit more than I am. And I've just enjoyed it so much. I've had such a good time. We got the dog manoeuvring. Heard noise. Off he goes. Investigate. I've really enjoyed it. I've loved getting a sense of what it's like for me to fully just live on my own. I think, I got a bit of a sense of that at university, but I always knew the plan was then to move back home at some point. Whereas now it's just, this is just what it's going to be like now.
And also at uni, you did have either housemates or you were in houses.
Yeah, exactly.
So actually being totally on your own.
Oh, and I've taken to it like a duck to water. It's just been so validating that it 100% was the right choice for me to live by myself. Because I love my own company. I love being by myself. It suits me down to the ground. Absolutely suits me down to the ground.
Mm-hmm. So what bits, if you talk about maybe some of the challenges, and then we can go into, I have other questions that I'd love to ask you.
Challenges. I think it's the old classic of finding a routine that works for me. I think I'm still working that out. It's my first experience of moving whilst having a job as well. When we moved out of my childhood home, again, I was finishing university, and we were able to do it sort of slowly. Whereas with this, it's, oh my God, I'm working full time and I've got all of these different plans of things that I want to do. And I think the realization of it's just going to be a much slower process than I thought it was going to was in itself a challenge, but I think something that I've learned to enjoy. Because I think those first few weeks I was I was like, oh my God, everything's happening so quickly. Like, I don't want it to be over so quickly. So actually, I'm quite pleased that I've slowed down, because I think it has allowed me to enjoy the changes a lot more. And then I think my general thing is always, for me, is just managing my social battery. I think the exact reason why I moved up to London was so that I could have more social plans and see people more often. And that's exactly what I've done, which is amazing. But I have been sort of teetering right on the edge of, like, a little too, we talked last week about introversion, and I've been teetering just outside my comfort zone of the amount of social plans I've had, which I really loved, and it's a season for it, right?
Yeah, and it was also, as you say, it's one of the reasons why you moved up here. It was also one of the reasons why you wanted to be on your own, so you could do more with your friends.
Yeah. Exactly. And I hosted my first Eurovision party last weekend, which was so much fun. And it's been one of those weird things that, like, I've got like weird little milestones in my brain, and one of them was to be able to host a Eurovision party, because that's just what moving out to me allows me to do, is to host silly little gatherings for silly little things, you know. And so that has been just so much fun, of like, oh my God, I just get to host it, and now that I'm in London, it's so much easier for people to come as well, and so you can do these light-hearted little things. They don't have to always be these big gatherings. So I've lost the topic of challenges. I've just gone onto the things that have been fun and enjoyable. But
you were talking about routine and everything being quite fast. So I mean, the other thing was obviously your fitness, which is the routine bit.
Yeah. Because I think routine is synonymous with working out for me, because I absolutely love training. It brings me so much joy. I am so bad at prioritizing it. And because I haven't got any more races coming up, things like that, and I'm taking a break from the netball season and all of these other things, means that actually I've got nothing to train for other than just for my own enjoyment. Yeah. So I actually need to get that routine sorted, because I know how much I enjoy doing it, and how much it helps me as well, just from a mental health perspective, to have sort of routine movement. So yeah, that's the bit that I'm still working out, that I haven't cracked yet.
And what about finances? I mean, just generally, how are you coping? Because obviously having a mortgage coming out and all of those extra...
It's scary, the amount of money you have to pay for things. Like, it sounds so silly, but, the amount that you have, like, seeing my mortgage coming out every month is a lot of money. Yeah. And then it's just, a routine points in the month, you've got more things. It's actually not been as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, I also deliberately, when I moved out, I deliberately left myself a little pot as like a buffer, as I got used to what my new financial situation looked like. So that, I think, has been helpful, and has made the transition a little easier, because over the last 3 months, I've needed to adjust, but I haven't needed to adjust as hard, given I'm buying lots of new furniture and I'm painting and I'm having to purchase a lot of stuff, that actually it's not been as hard a transition as it otherwise might have been, because I was quite deliberate in leaving like a little buffer zone for myself.
And so the other thing that you talked about, which we also touched on in terms of the dating situation, we initially, when you came up here into London, you were like, oh, bigger dating pool, and hopefully that will be better. And then I know when we did the dating episode, you were like, actually, I'm not sure I've got time for it right now. Yeah. I'm actually wanting to just, come into my flat and nest and, kind of do all the things that you needed to do. And actually it wasn't a priority. So where are you with that?
It's still not a massive priority, to be honest. I think I'm at a place where I am ready to start inviting that energy back in again. I'm ready to start putting myself back out there a bit more. But it's still not something that I think is particularly high up my list. Things like getting my routine sorted for training and that kind of thing is much more important to me in the immediate sense. But, you know, like I'm on the apps. I'm having a little look around at what's going on. I'm open to something happening. But I think, you know, we were talking earlier today of what are our future plans for dating. And like I've signed up for a dating event towards the end of next month. And, you know, I think it's things like that where I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to put myself back out there. But I do think I'm going to need a few things to like spark that. And I'm not ready to spark that back up quite now. It's in a few weeks time kind of situation, which I'm very okay with. So yeah, I think it's no real updates in that I'm still in the same sort of place that I was when we did the dating episode, which was, you know, it must be about a month and a half, 2 months ago now. And I've stuck to what I said, and I've not done any real dating, to be honest. But yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm ready to start putting my toe back out there, just not yet.
Very good.
Yeah.
And then in terms of our connection, so we talked about being intentional about chatting, staying in contact with each other. We talked about that, didn't we, in the first episode? So how do you think we've been doing?
Personally, I think we've been doing quite a good job. I'm going to be interested what you think when we spin the mic around. But I personally feel like I'm very satisfied with how we are at the moment. I think we've done a decent job of, but I feel like we do a good job of just staying in contact in general. And I do phone you most days. And I do also think, I mean, we've managed to make time to see each other every week because we've managed to film these every week. Which has been quite fun, of like a little moment to bring us together. And we'll often tie it into something like today, which is like, you've come up to help me build some furniture and that kind of thing. I think I'm excited. I think what I would like to do more of is us just to go out and do things. You know, like we do a lot of, and I think that's just because it's a bit of a season, is like I'm coming down to you because I'm helping with the dog, or like you're coming up here because you're helping me with something, or we're seeing each other because we're filming a podcast. And actually I think it'd be quite nice for us to just do stuff because we want to, as opposed to, oh, well, it's convenient because you're going to be here, so we're going to just go and do dinner. And like not always just going and doing dinner. Like, I really want to take you to Face Gym in central London, get a facial together. It's also your birthday present, which I have owed you since, you know, a good, 6 months now, something like that. So I think my even better if for us is to start also, it's like this interesting thing that I heard, which is like sometimes you have friendships where your friendship is catching up. And I don't want us to just be like catching up and just existing together. I want us to be able to go out and make memories as well.
Very nice.
So that would be my 2 cents on that.
We love that. I love that. That's very good. I have pictures of us, you know, just walking places and going into London and doing stuff in London.
Well, because you and I haven't even been into Richmond together yet.
No. We have other places to explore.
Anyways, were those sort of the things on your mind that you wanted to?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so in summary, I think the transition's been actually
on my side. I found it. Yeah, I found it pretty good. I think that would be my summation. Is that I think it all happened at the right time. I was very ready for it. I found a few things challenging, but nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing completely, oh my God, this was a bit of a mistake, or I shouldn't have done it as soon as I did. I think it's all felt in very good time, which has been very nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for you.
So, thanks, Mum. That's very sweet. I'm going to take the mic now.
Okay.
I'm the interviewer, but I could literally take my own mic rather than a pretend one. So how have you found it? Just generally the whole... Actually, let's start with just living by yourself. How have you found being in sort of the home by yourself and the dog, obviously?
I mean, I think on the whole, again, I haven't had any major spin outs. I think when I came back from Malaysia, I had sort of 4 days where I'm not sure I spoke to anybody. And I think that was a little bit of okay, this is you on your own then. obviously I speak to Marshy, but like another human being. But I haven't had many of those moments.
Yeah.
I think I've been pretty busy, with work and then, supporting you, supporting, my son. So I've not had big, long periods of, I feel isolated and I feel alone. Having said that, those 4 days I did have a bit of a, time for reflection. And I was also challenging myself not to just distract myself, which I can easily do. So I think there's a little bit of probably me doing some distraction, and hence the binging of Netflix, which I continue to do.
I feel like because we're on separate Netflix accounts now, I can't even keep track of what's going on your side of the fence.
So I think there's probably a lot of that. I think probably what I'm finding the hardest is in the evenings.
Yeah.
So, during the day I'm busy. I'm either meeting friends or I'm doing work, pottering around the house, doing stuff that I enjoy. But it's probably the evenings that are the quietest. And I think at the moment I'm probably doing a little bit too much of just sitting and watching TV. But I'm not sure what else.
Instead?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not sure what else I would do. Hence the, maybe now there is space for a relationship, because that's the time.
Yeah.
This is the time when I have space.
Yeah.
Where it would be nice to go out for a drink with somebody, or it'd be nice to go to the movies with someone, or it'd be nice to just have a nice meal, and chat. So I feel like I have quite a lot of dead time in the evening.
Interesting.
Which I think does create space. I'm not sure I've had space up until now. So it is making me think more actively, I think, which was part of part of the whole movement journey. Exactly, was that I have pockets where I'm not mum, and there's more and more times when I'm not mum, which then means so then I have to be Sue. Yeah. And
terrifying.
I know. and Sue not working.
Yeah.
Sue not being a mum. Like Sue in free time.
Who is Sue in her free time?
I don't know really. Apart from pottering in my garden and pottering around the house, I don't really know who Sue is in free time because I've worked for so many years. I think that's a bit of exploration to be done. Because
you were talking to me earlier today about like going and I know you're talking about doing it in the mornings, but like going and swimming with one of your friends and because I think when I think, and I know this is always something that both my brother and I, we've always been like, yay, mum, sports. But like if I think about you in your childhood, you're so sporty and active. Yeah. And I know, it's very different when you're in your 50s versus when you're in your teens. But I think that's my hope is that you discover a form of movement that is fun for you so that Sue in her free time not rediscovers, but like I think reconnects with.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, sport has been a big part of my life, up until, even while I was pregnant, I was still playing hockey at quite.
Well, because you went back and played hockey, didn't you? After you had me.
Yeah, so I was and probably played the most competitive because I wasn't working. I could train. So between you and your brother, I was probably playing the most competitive hockey that I have done. But since since having your brother and then working full time and then setting the business up,
you had a few nasty injuries as well, which did not help.
No. When we first moved to Portsmouth, which is where we were before the house that I'm in now, I was like, yes, I'm going to get back to netball. And then I think within about a few weeks, I'd like pulled my Achilles.
I'm sure it was the first game that you played competitively.
Madness. It's because my head was like, I know how to play this game.
Like Sonic on the netball court.
But my body was not.
It was like,
not
absolutely
ready.
not.
So I think I'd like to do some sport, but it's kind of like finding sport which is mixed. Yeah. Because otherwise I'm just surrounding myself with women again. Yeah. And I'm not sure I have my friends and I think I've done a good job with that.
I've loved hearing. Yeah. Oh, I've just gone for a walk with so-and-so and I've just gone a walk, I've absolutely loved it.
Yeah. So I think I've done quite well and keep catching up with friends. And then if I go swimming as well in the morning and it's an outdoor pool. So I'm really that feels quite a nice way to wake up in the morning
Yeah.
and exercise. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So I think I've done a good job with friendships, but I also don't want to just surround myself with women.
Yeah.
I would like, I think, to find... I think my big revelation, which
Ooh,
you and I,
tell me more.
you and I spoke about this the other
Yeah.
day, was I think from the divorce, I'd still got quite a lot of processing to do. I think because I divorced, we moved house, my dad died, sold the business, all at the same time. I don't think I fully processed all of those strands.
No.
And so I got a little bit more on the divorce side of things, which was, you know, my own guilt and shame of being divorced.
Yeah.
It's like I said some vows. What kind of woman are you that you don't stand by your vows? And why didn't you try harder? And so I have gone, I think that was my 4 days of my quietness after Malaysia. I did go into quite a self-reflective spot around, should you have done more? You know, a little bit of shoulds and, you know, a bit of
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
yeah, exactly. You know, and but you know, I know it was the right thing.
Yeah.
I also know it was the right thing to do. So but it did make me realize that I haven't kind of processed all of that yet.
I think I was quite. I think there was a part of me that was shocked, and there was a part of me that just wasn't in the slightest. I think the child in me was like, because I think I've processed it pretty much to completion, and so I think therefore the sort of child part of my brain is like, well, if I've processed it, why haven't you processed it? Like that seems bizarre to me. But then I think the adult in me goes, no, to your point, you've had so much going on, and you know, I've got the luxury of just being the child, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to be anything else like in that scenario. Whereas you were the wife and a mother and a business owner, and like, you know, and you're a daughter very much with what was going on with your dad.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is a really astute point of just that 3-year period between 2018 and 2021 was insane. Just with the amount of different people you had to be in that time period. So actually, you know, now it's given me a second to think about it, because I think when you told me in the car, I was a bit like, doesn't compute what's going on. I had that error 404 in my brain of like, no. But like now I've been able to like percolate on it. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased that, do you feel like you're ready to sift through some of that?
I think so. I mean, I think I need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Because I think I could skirt over some stuff. So I am. My job of the week.
Yes.
Is to. I found an organisation that does. Well, they do matchmaking, but they also do relationship coaching.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go and do some of that.
Nice.
And get some coaching just to make sure that I've got some support. Because I think otherwise I might not look as deeply. You need someone to hold you in the space and actually to just do a little bit of inquiry and just ask me some of those difficult questions. So I think I'm going to do, that's my challenge for myself this week, is to actually start to be more active.
Nice.
And I think on the dating episode, I did talk about, you know, doing that, and part of it was losing weight, and you know, and I've been doing pretty well with that, you know, hence also wanting to swim as well and sort of get back into my body. So I think I've been doing reasonably well at that. So I think next is to sort my mind out and try and come to terms with, I think I have come to terms with it. I think there's just more, it's less about the relationship and more about the judgments I'm holding on myself against societal norms.
Yeah.
And can I forgive myself?
Yeah.
I think is probably the big question.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the nugget.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess working out what you're forgiving yourself for as well.
Yeah, I think yes, we could go into
you and I are like, okay, lock in everyone.
We could go. I mean, you know, there's a range of, you know, forgiveness for not staying true to my vows, forgiveness for not making it work, but forgiveness for the disruption it caused you and your brother. You know, there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot for me to just, you know, like, can I I was with a friend talking about it the other day, and they're a coach as well, and they asked me some very good questions, and it was actually almost I need to fall in love with myself again before I can fall in love with someone else.
Yeah.
So I think that's
and I wonder if that's what the sort of like the weight loss piece is like a proxy for.
I think it is. Yeah, it's like can I fall in love with myself again and not be so harsh and so critical.
Yeah. I don't like that we're sat apart. I want to give you a cuddle, but I think that's really like, and I'm sure that that's so relatable to so many people as well. Of, you know, and I think that's true for anyone, right? Wanting to open themselves back up again, whether you've gone through divorce or not, is that piece of you know, to quote RuPaul, if you can love yourself, how in the hell you're going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here?
Amen.
But I think, you know, it's such a, you know, it's a well-known saying for a reason, right? Yeah. And I think that's a very powerful piece of self-love that you can do for yourself is working through that. Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna commit to phoning and getting an appointment. In terms of the other bits of transitions, the bits I've absolutely loved, I'm nailing my sleep at the moment. Absolutely nailing my sleep, and that's partly because my routine is completely within my control now. Yeah. So what time I eat, what time I go to bed, you know. So I'm really. I also realise that a lot of my weight issues are. When I'm working, like I give so much energy out, I sort of feed myself, you know, or I'm traveling, you know, so it's a little bit of a comfort blanket, but also a must feed because I'm giving out, you know, and then I end up
I need to replenishing yourself in some kind of way.
Yeah. And there's probably a little bit of adrenaline and anxiety, you know, I'm kind of feeding that too. So what I notice is when I sleep, everything gets better. You know, I make better choices around my food. You know, I've got more energy to go and exercise. Yeah. So for me, I have been really focusing on my sleep, and I've got lots of crowns. My Aura ring.
We're Aura ring bitches. We both have our Aura rings, and it's like, so how did you sleep? I was like, let me just consult my app, and I'll tell you how well I slept.
So I'm getting many crowns, and I just don't. I was not getting that at all. So I'm really pleased with the commitment I'm getting on my sleep, and it does have a big impact. Yeah. So I'm very, very happy with that.
And I know that's my key to routine and exercise as well, is that I need to. I've got into the habit of going to sleep too late at the moment, and I need to bring it 45 minutes earlier, which is not a huge amount of time.
No.
I think that's the other thing, is that like we talk about trying to get our sleep right, and so at least I find so often it's because I let it go on just that 45 minutes too long, and then suddenly it ticks over into past midnight, and then suddenly I'm not giving myself the chance to have enough sleep. Yeah. It's like it really doesn't need it. What am I gaining in those 45 minutes? Yeah. You know, like 45 minutes to an hour. What realistically am I gaining that actually am I losing longer term by not just going to sleep? Yeah.
And I mean, the bit that's changed for me is I'm eating much earlier.
Yeah.
So it makes my evening feel longer. Yeah. So then I feel like I'm ready to go to bed. You know, and the other thing you said earlier on today when we were chatting and we were catching up, you were saying, you know, you love reading. Yeah. So why am I not just taking myself off to bed to read the thing I love doing the most?
I like it more than watching TV, so then why am I watching TV? Yeah. Like, I know I prefer reading. So anyway, I've bought a whole bunch of new books. I've got loads of new goodies to sink my teeth into. And I think, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
So one thing we spoke about in that first episode was you getting more comfortable with reaching out when you might need me or my brother. Yes. Is that something that I guess either you felt like you needed to do, something that you haven't done yet and you wanted to? Where are you at with that as a concept? Because I ring you all the time. I don't think you've actually... Maybe once or twice you've rung me.
Yeah. I tend to message more.
Yes, that's true. I just get the "you okay?" question mark. I'm like, does she think I'm not okay? I'm not sure.
I think one, I don't feel like I've needed to. I've not got to a point of like, nobody loves me, you know.
It's probably because I'm harassing you every hour of the day.
No, not at all. I think there have been days where we haven't, you know, we haven't connected, and that's been okay. So no, I haven't felt like I have needed anything. And I think I probably message rather than just call. Your brother's very good at just phoning.
That's good.
Whereas I tend to like, are you okay? Are you around? And then normally I'll get a phone call back. So I haven't been asking for anything, but I haven't really felt like I've needed.
That's a good point though, because I think your way of doing that is not to phone me, but it's just a little.
Yeah.
Because normally when you send me a text, I'll just phone you back.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's sort of your way to be like, just touching base.
Exactly.
How are we doing?
And it's normally with both of you, it's if there've been extended periods and I haven't spoken to you, then I just kind of want to check in and is everything all right? And I'm
She's not
also
just dying in a little anxious ball on her bed.
Well, because sometimes you don't reach out when you're struggling.
Yeah.
So that's partly why I do that. Are you okay? If I haven't heard from you for a while. But I also don't need you to phone me back either.
Yeah.
It's fine if you turn around and
It's
go.
actually laziness. I don't like texting, so I'm like, I would so much rather just get on the phone and we can have a natter for 2 minutes and we can put the phone down, or normally turns into 30 minutes of yabberage.
Yeah. So no, I haven't felt like I have needed to reach out. But I'm also, you know, I am trying to challenge myself that I can't just be reliant on, you know, you. In particular, you know, your brother's about to go away again with work for
the longest period that he's going to be away for as well.
Exactly. So, you know, there is a little bit of me like I can't just be dependent or create codependency.
Yeah.
So I also am slightly challenging myself to, you know, not be totally dependent on you guys. So, but no, I haven't sort of got to a point where I've needed to say, you know, I need to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice little reflection though.
Yeah, I think it's been, and I am really pleased with the way that you and I have stayed in touch, and you know, in some ways the podcast has also kept us connected.
Yeah.
You know, as you say, we're doing something as well, but it's a nice way of us just staying connected. So
dedicating some time to talk about something as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I've enjoyed doing this as well.
And it's also like, I think I've also have loved. Like, I think I've been able to find some things out about you, which has been really enjoyable. And like finding where we've got a slightly different, like often we have a same end opinion, but like we'll get there slightly differently. And I just think that's really interesting as like a mother-daughter of, I feel like I've really been able to see some of the things that I've picked up from you, and then also what are some of my own genuine viewpoints that I've moulded through my life experiences, but actually how some of the ones that I have are rooted in your, you know, thoughts and feelings and opinions. Which I think has been really fun when we've talked, you know, like I especially thought that with the introvert extrovert one we did last week, where you know, I have some very clear opinions of my own because I've studied psychology and that kind of thing, but equally there's so much from my own brain from what I've picked up from you as well, which I found that quite cool.
It's been fun. I equally, I really enjoyed it. Sometimes I listen back to the podcast and I go, you're so smart.
Thanks, Mum.
Like seriously, when I listen to you, I go, you're so insightful, you're so smart. And then I was like, did I really hear that the first time round? So yeah, it's kind of nice just to, you know, replay it and go, wow, okay, there's a lot in that conversation. And I think,
it's been interesting because like I've been sharing it with a few of my friends, and like, you know, a couple of my friends have been like, actually, no, this is like really good, you know, but in the, you know, I think for some, you know, there's one of my friends who doesn't know you as well, sort of knows of you, but doesn't know you that well, and is like, oh my God, your mum seems really cool. And then there's one of my closest friends from home who's listened to a few, and it's just like, oh my God, I'm so excited I get to listen to Mama Sue. Like, so I think it's been so much fun to do, and I think we've enjoyed it. I think I've enjoyed it a lot more than I actually thought I was going to. I really thought I was going to hit maybe 3 or 4 episodes and go, I'm good, I'm done, I've scratched the itch. But actually, we've got a lot to say.
we do have a lot to say. So if you would like us to continue, we would love, hit subscribe.
Exactly. Give us a review. I think that's the big thing. If you're listening to this on Spotify, then it would really, really help us if you could give us a review. One, we also would love to hear what you guys think, leaving a comment, that kind of thing. But equally, to help people discover us, a review goes a very long way. And the same with if you're watching on YouTube, a subscription and a comment goes a very long way as well.
And we appreciate, for those of you that are regular listeners, and we know we have a few of you that are regular listeners, we really appreciate you, and we're enjoying having you along the ride with us.
Absolutely. Fabulous. Well, that's us wrapped up for another week, I reckon.
Beautiful
Stuff. Well, hopefully we'll do another one of these next quarter, shall we? We'll regroup next quarter and do a Q2. No, it'll be a Q3 review by that point.
Another 90-day review.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, have a lovely week, everybody.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Next Thursday. Bye.